Hello and take off your clothes, everyone. It's the Scorpio season.
The veil is thin and it's getting thinner, so it's time to be fearless and free. Ball.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro. Hello and welcome to Leading Out Loud, a spiritual shift show that's more than a treat and tricks. It's actually psychic astrologer doing both. I'm Sensei Christopher, the Sensei to Serious Joy.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with scottcruzpm.com. So let's hopefully you have a better report this week, Christopher, right?
A better report. Well, yes, I'm doing better. I mean, I've gotten some sleep. It's been a transition time. I mean, this is the anti-birthday time for Tauruses. You know, it's our Scorpio time. And so, that Libra was tough. Libra was tough in the sense that it was really sensitive and people were oversteering all the time and going off the cliff a lot of times, off the rails. Felt like it was all going off the rails. For Tauruses, like we're so heavy. I was saying it's like in Libra, it's like we're a bull in a rowboat. We're just like flipping out like a rowboat, trying to keep ourselves steady. It was like, But now that Scorpio's hit, I've got like my Scorpio like fuck you on, like which is that face where you're just like, God, that's it, hell or high water, So that's where we're about 3 days into that. Three days into that kind of attitude. How about you?
Similar. I'm just kind of like, I'm owning it. I'm owning where I stand and I'm not allowing myself to persuade and dissuade myself out of it. So yeah, I feel like I'm solidifying things. I've been saying that for a while about like, it's gonna be a month of solidification, Scorpio season going to November. And I do that a lot emotionally, intellectually, in place. And I think we talked about it last week about, always kind of compromising and saying, I have a limit to that now. So yeah, it's been kind of grounding.
Yeah, setting limits. I mean, that's what this is all about going forward. We're in Scorpio and people don't realize, we've got a whole state of awareness, an entire race of humans that just manages boundaries called Scorpios. Yeah. And that's how much that's how much you have to like do to have separation, the illusion of separation on the planet. And we are learning how to like separate our godliness into little piles and little pieces and little filaments. And that's what boundaries are for. And it's so funny. If you don't make that little distinction, just that one little distinction, it can turn out to be a mess. Like if you're putting in an AI, one comma missing and the whole thing goes apart. So, yeah. But right now, the boundaries we're changing now, though, buddy, are like huge. Like, I think people are reversing entire lifetimes. Like, for instance, I'm no longer going to be nice. That's what I decided. I'm kidding. But one of the things I learned was I'm just too generous, way too generous. And I get it now. I mean, I've always seen it, but that was a nice thing. But now I'm like, now I'm just cutting it off. I'm no longer going to be generous. As I had been, just because it hasn't worked out in any fashion whatsoever, and for me in those investments, I don't know, maybe it's my arrogance investing in that, or, I don't know what I was doing, certainly not Daddy Warbucks, I'll tell you that. But so that's like a long-term boundary. I'm like, that's it, charity's closed and that's it after, so many years. So did you have anything like that, like a major line close or open?
Yeah. I mean, the compromising aspect, and I realized that there are people in my life that deserve more compromise, people that deserve less compromise. And so it's not that I stopped doing it. It's more kind of refining where and when I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? And, and there's people that deserve it and worth it and people that are not of that. So yeah, I just been refining a lot of that. And it's been kind of like revealing a lot of, I would say, decisions I've made in the past that maybe were not the best, for myself and for other people too. And, I don't blame past relationships, never do. I always feel like I was also the participant in those relationships, but just understanding how it's elevated now. And, I never really took things personally with relationships. I feel like I enjoy the connections for what they are, even if they're not like long-term and I think now I'm starting to be less of compromising with that and saying I do kind of need more requirements in my relationships, and friendships and don't spread myself too thin on that. So yeah, it's nothing like heavy. It's just refinement, it's a refinement.
Yeah, well, I'm not good at Scorpio, so this is like the first time in some cases that I'm putting up the boundary, and it took the whole life to be at that level. That's okay, sure. I mean, I think the best thing to remember for everyone is like the response to yourself is what separates you from the old you and the new you is how you respond to yourself. So it's not what you do to the world. It's not that you put up the boundary. It's not that you told them. In fact, you don't need them at all. whoever they are and what it is, you don't need them at all. They're actually just they're just a mnemonic device to study from, honestly, to understand the idea of it and to label the idea under them. They're just a delivery of the idea to you. What's important is the way you respond to yourself. That is the key to everything I've realized. And so my response to myself has been like, that's okay, I don't mind, but it's fine. You know, everything's like, it's fine. I love you. We're not gonna make our life petty going over these types of things, you know, just sort of like shoring up, you know, that this doesn't need to keep happening. Have you had enough? Yeah, I've had enough. And, you know, the two of us go wandering off, us being schizophrenic sensitive.
Yeah, and I think it's like important that we don't look at it as far as like what they did. I like to look at things as saying like, where are they at and where am I at? Like, are we on the same wavelength? Are we aligned in that sense? And so I don't blame it. Like, so you can't blame a homeless person for being homeless if they're homeless. You can't blame a person who doesn't know good English if they don't know good English. So same thing with other people. If they're not matching where you're at, then it's not their fault. It's just you need to do better as far as matching. I think it's more of a matching game than, you know, attraction. It's like, are you matching with what you're wanting? And so I think if we look at it that way, we can't blame people because they were not on a similar wavelength as us, because they could blame us too. You know,
it's not matching. It's control. Some people have to have control over other people, and it's like, I don't know why. I don't get it. I never liked remote control cars. I played those things as a kid. Like, it was like 5 seconds at Christmas and it was done. You know, like remote controlling shit to me is not interesting. You know, like, so you get off on like all you want. You want to control your wife or control your husband or control your, you know, and that's because you have no control in your life and you need something to control, right? There are people, you know. I mean, I've been under for some reason. I guess because I'm so independent. I don't know, but I have had, you know, ladies that just want to control me. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter what I pick. It's if I'm picking it, that's what's wrong. It's like, hello, why don't you get a job or something? You're like, you know, go find something you can control, you know, kind of thing, a nice thing. But that starts even with my family. It's a core thing in my family. So it's my issue. I know it's our issue, but it's kind of weird. But I think so.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that's a perfect time for like in Scorpio season for that to be coming up out of you. If you like take it and like look at it and observe it, right? And so I think, you know, this could be your final chapter with it, Christopher. This could be your final chapter now with it. Now that you're, you know, seeing it during this time, and you know, it's tough. It's tough being a giver and having that problem. It's tough being someone who wants to make a difference and having that problem. That could be very tough to evolve from, because then we feel like we're abandoning, or we feel like we're, you know, dropping people. And you know, it's tough when you have an empathetic nature of making those distinctions, because then we feel like, am I really abandoning someone? Am I really being too harsh? You know, so it could be difficult.
It is. It's hard to tell. And a lot of times people around me anyways, like, milk it in so many different ways on top of it. And just like, oh God, you know, the layer upon layer of, you know, of really manipulation, you know, to get their way or whatever. And it's just like, I feel like a kid in the grocery store just can't walk anymore. I was like, you know,
yeah, but that also happens with employers too. You have to remember too, you're an employer, so
Agreed.
There's a lot that happens as well, right? So
100%, I get that totally, and I think I'm up on it. I mean, I know I've done. Let's put it this way: I know I've thought for myself as the employer, and I thought for myself as a, you know, an employee of my own company. Have you done the same to the person who's complaining? Right? Have you done the same? Have you put yourself in my shoes and your shoes both? But I do put them in both shoes. I've had their shoes on; they're tight. You know, whatever, you know, but anyways, we do our best, you know. And then I think another thing too is like, we're a karma company. So what that means is, and I keep telling them, is like, guys, we're going to end up being the ones that trigger each other's karma. Like, it's going to be us. Like, hello, this is what we believe in. So it's going to happen here at work. And can we not have a little extra, like, you know, get out of jail free card because we know how it really all works, you know? The answer is no. God's like, you can have a spiritual company, but you're still going to be plagued with the crap that always came, you know, like, fuck. It's not true. We get along really well, actually, as a company. We work through it and talk about it.
But there is issues, though. I know you, because like you want everyone to be family, and then when people don't see the family aspect, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? So I've noticed that with you, and knowing you for 2 years now.
Yeah, you little bastards. Yeah, thank you for the Christmas gifts. I'm kidding.
Yeah, because I've seen like we're a family here, and then you respond as a family, and then some people are like, oh hell no, and you know, and I see you get hurt by that in the past, you know, and take it personally, and it's like, you know, and I get this. So what we're talking about, the boundaries thing, right? And it's just, I think for now it's saying like, I have to be an employer, I have to be, you know, and not blur the lines, so where then the ugly comes out of me, and that's what I learned about myself too. When I put myself in situations that are not good for me, then it brings out the ugly in me, you know, and it's like, you don't want that representation for people, you know, when we're just trying to accommodate, you know, or be, you know, accessible.
I'm interested in some genius stuff. Like, I want us to just, you know, come into our genius and impress ourselves with ourselves, not with not impress the audience per se. If we impress ourselves, we will impress the audience automatically, I think, because they like us. And I think that's the focus. Let's have a good time here. We're not gonna be able to ever do this again. For me in this lifetime, I've been very clear. Like people like, I'd like to spend more time with you. I'm like, if you don't work for me, you're not gonna. It's like, I just don't have the time. It's gonna be all work relationships this lifetime, pretty much. And my mom's like, how can you live like that? I'm like, I'm a Buddhist, Mom. I'm reincarnated. I'll get it in the next life. This is the kind of arguments we have in my house. It's crazy.
I've been there, done. I'm good.
Yeah. So, the headlines. I think it brings us on some headlines of we're going to be focusing on moving beyond news and now fear porn, and focus on some positive headlines. I think that was a little note to us. Actually, they read out loud by accident. Our first headline, Mr. Director. Okay, you want to read this one, buddy?
Yeah, U.S. scientists identify.
Okay.
What? Yeah, U.S. scientists identified naturally occurring lake bacteria that thrives by breaking down plastic, which is very interesting, actually. Samples from 29 lakes in Scandinavia found that when the total carbon level in lake water has raised by only about 4%, using plastic-derived carbon, bacterial growth rates more than doubled. So that could be very, very interesting to, if they can somehow replicate this in other places where we have pollution, and it could be a really good, useful technology, actually. So I think that's pretty cool. Pretty interesting.
I just want to time out the climate argument for a minute and be like, ha, which is that turns out Mother Earth does have a fucking solution for it after all, right? Like, seriously. It turns out it does. It is going to just fix itself. It is going to just magically fix itself. It's going to, magically fix itself. It is. Because it's consciousness. Conscious, will invent it. Mother Earth will invent it. That's what people don't understand. Like, she'll just invent a way. She's like, okay. Now I wonder, you go swimming in all that, plastic eating shit. Like you come out with clothes on, all the things are gone, like the belt buckles.
Your thong is missing.
Yeah.
You get a free waxing, when you dive in.
That's kind of weird. Okay.
You had a visual. I could tell when I said that.
I did. I didn't want to describe it. It's not good. It was rated X. Mr. Director, our second headline would be great.
Yeah, actor Michael. You want to? You can take it. Actor Michael Sheen uses his own money to purchase approximately $1 million worth of consumer debt owned by about 900 people. Highlights high cost credit trap, burdensome debt at the unfairness in the consumer credit debt collection system. So, what do you think about that?
I think, Mike, you're an idiot. Or not. And the truth is what he's not saying is he purchased $1 million in debt, which means when they pay back their debt, it'll be worth $5 billion. He's not letting you know that this is going to turn into a shitload of money if they pay it back, which they will, because there'll be one thing on camera and another thing behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I think it's not up to the consumers to buy back their debt. I honestly think that we personally need to hold the World Bank responsible. I keep saying that. So Rockefeller and the World Bank, both of you, you're responsible. I think the Rockefeller should be drained of all their money, and I think that we should drain the World Bank of their money. Actually, we should just stop using it. It's monopoly money. We just stop using it. They print the money.
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Why are we using why are we playing Monopoly and using the money from life? What are we doing?
Sure.
It's I don't understand. It's so obvious. So
I think too, if I look at it from a perspective of being charitable, I think that's a great way to be charitable, helping actual people who are in debt, right? 100 people who are in debt and maybe struggling to pay the bills, and then
writing it off. Is he going to pay for it and just give it to him? And
I'm sure he's writing it off as charity. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably writing it off as a charity. But I think in that sense, I think if you really want to help people, help your average middle American that's struggling with debts and bills up to here. So from that angle, I'm like, I think that's kind of cool as in a charitable sense. I don't know if it's really.
Yeah, I applaud him. So I just wanted to say it for the record. That was really nice. I'm sure his intentions are 100% good. 100%. Yeah.
But I don't think it's
actually
highlighting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying I don't think it's actually highlighting the unfairness of a credit debt collection system, because again, when you sign that credit card, you know the rate, you know what it is, if you're late, you're past due. So we should be a little smarter. So I don't like to blame, even though I don't support large corporations and root for them. But at the same time, we sign those dots, we agree to those terms and conditions. So it's our own problems if we're getting into debt. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, credit card companies are right up there with Rockefeller. I recently, my credit card rating went down because I put all my credit, I charged one card up to move another card around, and oh, you should keep that card down to 30%, and they dung me for 50 points or something. I'm like, what the hell? For using the credit card, you've been giving me things saying I'm not using enough credit, and now I start to use the thing, and now I'm getting like this is a game to see how much we will submit.
Yeah, I pay things off, it goes down, but then it goes up again, and it's a game. But I mean, but we know it, and it's like I got smarter saying I'm not taking that interest rate. I don't need that. I've gotten smarter about that, so I don't hurt myself, but use it to my benefit, and that's where things have gotten better with my financial aspects and credit. But some people are desperate, Christopher. Some people, these companies prey on the desperate people, the young, the people kids that just got out of high school, and here's a credit card, and they prey on people that need it. High interest loans for people who just can't pay the bills for the week. And so
I'm sorry, but I think the biggest offenders of this is really the biggest lenders. I mean, they are the ones that get away with like the bailouts, all this stuff. They get far more than consumers. I think the only way it's going to change is you're going to have an alternative lending mechanism. Like, so someone's going to be like super rich, and they're going to say they're going to come up with their own terms for how they lend their money, of which I don't know if the government has the right to say. I don't know where the government has the right to say, but it's like, if I want to lend you a fucking cup of sugar, I'll do it my way. You know what I mean? Like, it's mine. So I think it's going to be private. I really believe. So here's where conservatives are correct. Now, don't get me wrong. Privatization. I think privatization is right. That's one thing where I'm torn between sides, because I think the government does fuck it up all the time. Yes. The intentions are good. The intentions are good, but we never do it. We cannot make anything work well. Even our post office doesn't work well. It's like, so maybe we should just let private. But then again, it has to be regulated. So nightmare. Let's go on the next headline.
Don't say the keyword Rockefeller. Don't say the keyword. You're gonna explode if I do.
The word is Rockefeller. Okay,
Oh, you want me to read this? Interstellar Object 31 Atlas reaches. I guess it's my day to read. Interstellar Object 31 Atlas reaches its closest point to the sun today. However, scientists accuses NASA of withholding key data that may indicate non-natural origin. I mean, we know it's a non-natural origin. We know it's from another galaxy or from another universe, so to speak. We know this, but the answers I want to know is, what is it doing, and if it's coming here, where is it going to go, and is there danger involved? And so, I guess I understand the fact that they may withhold data, but I think there's also withholding of data because they don't know what the fuck it is either and where it's going. They can't really put anything out there. But for me, like I said before, it always felt like a piece of a spacecraft for me.
Me too. I've said the same. I think it's garbage in space, and I think also I'm adding on this. I think we've discovered that there are rivers in space, like rivers. I think it's in some sort of like cosmic river.
Oh,
like
totally. Yeah, 100%. And I think that, just got lost, and it may have technology on it. I never felt psychically it was like Julie trying to monitor us that way, because I think it would have left by now that we've captured it. So, but yeah, I think it's funny how much attention it's getting to, but it's also kind of cool as well at the same time.
I think it's getting attention because it's all been highlighted by the whoever's to keep putting it in the news. And it's just us being like, programmed to, be worried about alien garbage now. It's like, so, it's going to be the next big thing after climate change. It's going to be garbage in space. We got to really quick clear our space. We're doing that. We got to clean up the space. Actually, it is going to be that way.
We found some alien shoes. Well, maybe somewhere in their universe they found some bacteria that cleanses out that bacteria from their universe, and that was coming to us, just like we have that bacteria in the water. Maybe we're somehow mirroring each other in different ways. Yes. And we're just getting that garbage now from their universe.
Yes, I think politicians are our bacteria. Just kidding. So that's
they're eating it up.
Yeah, they're eating up all this other shit. All right, I think it's our time for our commercial. First one, huh? Yeah, our first commercial break. Do you have anything?
I help people to kind of get in touch with their gut, which some people believe is your first brain now, right?
Right.
And what the coolest part about what I do is that it's not like I sell anybody on anything. Like, people come to me because they know that they need to get to me, either for higher self work, colon hydrotherapy work, how to have like living food in your world, how to create your purpose, how to tap your intuition, how to align chakras, systemic like energy moving through the body. I take care of people to help them to realign their integrity within themselves for their mind, body, and spirit. And the integrity is really the right relationship. It's not like a moral judgment or anything. It's just right relationship. And I feel like a lot of people in this world know that they're not in right relationship and aren't always sure how to get back into it.
Are you looking for inspiration to grow your conscious business? Sears Joy's Board of Light is a sacred alliance of lightworkers, visionaries, and spiritual leaders dedicated to awakening conscious leadership.
Our next lineup of guests is ready to take you on that journey of spiritual enlightenment. Next quarter guests include Sofia Del Gigante, branding specialist, founder of Rising Creative Studio, beginning in November. Then in December, join us for Jillian McKenzie, spiritual strategist and soul project manager. In January, start your new year off right with Melly Garcia, creative relaunch BFF.
Don't miss this profound lineup of wisdom. Join now for only $250 per year and be a part of the enlightened professional re-evolution. What are you waiting for?
You started your business for freedom, but somewhere along the way, it turned into chaos. You're trying to fit your unique vision into someone else's blueprint, and it's leaving you feeling overwhelmed and second-guessing your every move. That's exactly why we created From Chaos to Clarity, your 12-week live business intensive. We give you the courage to claim your voice, the clarity to build your unique framework, and the conviction to lead your business your way. You'll get live power hours to hone your strategy and weekly accountability sprints to make sure the work actually gets done. Stop following, start building. You don't need to do it all alone. Clarity is closer than you think.
That's so fascinating. I love seeing our commercials grow. These are all from our own community, guys, these commercials. And I'm proud of them. I know some of them kind of feel like, you know, they did as a kid. But I actually am like, well, wait a second. We create our own TV network. And you know, the first commercials are the ones we're used to and like the ones we all heard of. And it's really cool. It's so cool to see Lightwork being advertised. So cool.
I was kind of laughing because you were talking about like spaceships pooping, and then that ad was about kind of the gut and pooping. So I thought that was kind of very in sync.
See, we'll charge you extra for that too. See,
that's good.
No, it's very good. Y'all, if y'all, by the way, I guess Jenny at adintuitive.com, Jenny at Adintuitive, if you're interested in advertising any of our stuff. We're about to blitzkrieg this world, man. I mean, we got a whole plan coming up with Serious Joy, what we're doing next, getting ready for next year, preparing for the big circus. But today, actually, we're going to be talking about, I guess we're going to be talking about, firstly, the astrology going on. Let's start there. You know, we're in boundary consciousness, so I'll just lead in here. We have Neptune has gone back into Pisces for the first time since the Civil War. And it's not really the first time, but this is actually the last time Neptune will be in Pisces. You know, for another is 186 years or 86 years. I can't remember exactly. 100 something. I never memorized the numbers for some reason, but nonetheless, it was really slavery was last time we had this issue where God sort of threw in the moral code of Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So the point is like we're getting sort of like a last chance to screw it up right now with Neptune and Saturn both back in Pisces. The universe saying, okay, is this your final answer? You know, kind of thing. And so we'll be answering that until they go direct, at which point it's just blast off time. Everything's going to run on those kind of principles. Another thing that we had happen is we have Mercury has gone into Sagittarius. So I think that's going to make things a lot easier on our mind because our mind's going to be a lot more optimistic now. And Mercury's in Scorpio. I mean, I'm such an asshole. Like, inside myself. I'm just such an asshole. That's how I see myself. Yeah, you know, to Scott too. And we have Mars entering Sagittarius too. So I think what we're going to see, just to put it in a nutshell, it's Scorpio season. So people are drawing lines, right? And people are drawing lines with me. I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad there's lines. I'm glad. But now with Mars and Mercury and Sag, you can probably get a lot of argument. Whereas before, we didn't get argument in the beginning because Mercury was in Scorpio and the minds were like, if that's where he draws a line, that's where he draws a line. But then when Mercury's in Sag, it's like, well, what is a line anyways? You know, like you start going down that path, like, oh.
Yeah. So
I think we're going to sort of be floating and but it feels like something major happens right after Thanksgiving. That's not because of the holidays, just because of where I feel it. That's all I can say for now, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been saying, you know, of course, Scorpio season going to November is like solidification, crystallization, solidifying who you are, what you want, all that stuff, and bring it to reality. So, and I would say this week's theme would be is like pack it up. Like think about when we move, we are packing things up, but we also kind of, when we're moving, we discard things we no longer need, and we realize, I've been carrying this freaking thing for this so many years. Why? Can I just release that attachment? And so we need to be doing that intellectually too, and start saying, like, packing up our mind, saying, this is where I'm moving to. I don't need this extra clutter I've been holding on to for so long. So now's the time to really decipher that. So yes, it goes in correlation to what Christopher you were saying about setting those boundaries, but it's also like deciphering those fragmented pieces that just don't no longer belong. Why are we carrying this? And so when we do this, that was where we can really, as you walk into November, really solidify where we're at and the perspectives that we are in. And that's when we're so certain, so clear when things really crystallize around us, what we call manifestation. But the crystallization is happening because you're able to perceive it now. You're able to realize realize it now. It's not flying by you, or you're just not paying attention any longer. You're crystal clear and how you're perceiving things, which then, of course, brings a crystallization. So, and so it's time for us to think about that now. Think of it like you're packing and moving, and what are you packing with you when it comes to your intellectual thoughts, your beliefs, your focuses, and what your importances are, relationships, all that great stuff, and what's ready to, I don't want to say put it in the trash, but leave behind. And maybe give to somebody else who finds, someone's trash their treasure. In a sense.
I'm certainly going to pack my crystals like that. Pack those.
Pack those crystals up, yeah.
I agree. Well, I think we are moving up. The Earth is moving on up. I mean, I'm feeling it. You cannot not. We are being pulled to a higher vibration, and that means that the lower vibration feels worse. Gets icky, starts feeling sick, left behind. But I am in a lot of elation because I think I'm starting to feel like, at least as of the last couple of days, like, wait a second. For one, here's what I'm going to throw out there. I want to ask you this. I had this come up before, and I don't think I was correct about the winds, but I feel this huge love wave coming. I feel a huge wave of love. I kind of feel like it's a bunch of people finding their soulmates at the same time, because that's what I've been seeing, reading after reading after reading after reading, that the person had put off their soulmate until the end of the life, until the good. Like, everyone had waited on their dessert and did not eat their dessert till the end. And like, I can tell you the percentage of my clients where that was the case, myself included. And so my guys are like, okay, right about, it's coming right about here. So I'm not even freaked out, but at this point I'm just like, okay, let's see it. But I think maybe it isn't that the Earth so much goes through an enlightenment per se, because Mother Earth goes down, takes a pill and dreams and has hallucinations. Maybe it's that a large percentage of the population of the Earth suddenly falls in love, and then suddenly the love vibration is like quadruples. And it's because people are all gaga, feeding each other chocolate kisses left and right and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what makes the world uncomfortable. That's how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Right? Yeah. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Oh, that was a curveball there. Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's I forgot what I was gonna say.
That love, a total love orgy on Earth, or everyone's just in love with each other.
Yeah. And then right, you said I'm looking at this donut hole photo on my desk here, and just my mind just went somewhere else. Yeah, and I think that's a result. Like, that love is a result, because when we're solid in ourselves, right, and we actually know who we are, there's nothing to cheat. There's nothing to want to take from somebody else. There's nothing to feel competitive over. There's nothing we want to steal from anybody else, right? And so I think we're solid. That means we're already in love. And you and I always say, when we're in love, then we can't help but to share that. And so I always said, I feel like at some point during the age of Aquarius, that there's going to be the hippie era. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think it must be, the millennials will allow it, because they're about job ready now, right? I think the youngest millennials 25 or something, 24. So it's y'all need to get a job, but then probably the ones under them, which would be the whiners. Oh, no, just kidding. Gen Z.
The wieners? What?
Yeah. Generation whiners is millennials. They renamed because of they rebranded.
Well, I'm a millennial.
What's that?
I'm a millennial. Yeah, I'm 1982.
No, you're. I think you're an Xer. I think that Gen X.
You said we went through this last time. We looked it up. Remember, we went through this a couple of weeks ago. We looked it up. I'm a millennial. It starts at 81.
Pluto. So I think if we base on Pluto, that means Pluto came in, gave some of this, some of it's them, and in the in betweens, you get some of each. That's all. So if
probably,
it's correct,
you got to look at my Pluto. You have to see my Pluto. I have no clue. You have to remind me of that again.
Yeah. Last time we did a Pluto.
Pay you for your time.
Yeah. I need to go there. So you just lost my insurance. All right. So funny. So we're going to the topic tonight. The topic of our fun tonight is, by the way, Happy Halloween. We should talk about that and fear, and that's an interesting thing with the pagans. My understanding Halloween is New Year's for the pagans. It's New Year's.
Yeah.
This is New Year's.
That's right.
This is where the year started over. It was this time of the year. Imagine if we had New Year's right now. Imagine if we did New Year's right now instead of having it packed on to fucking Christmas like it is. Because everyone's so exhausted. We're forced to get all of our stuff out in 1-2 weeks, Yeah. And what if we had it now? What if we had, instead of Thanksgiving, we have our New Year's now in October, and then we have Thanksgiving in November? That'd be cool. And so basically the full moon in Halloween is the full moon in Taurus. I mean, the full moon you always see in a Halloween picture, that's a Taurus full moon. Taurus is the birth of life. It's a brand new birth of life. Yeah. Scorpio is the birth of death. So this full moon in Taurus is when life is reborn. And this is where, we call, pagans decided to squat on it and call it Halloween and make fun of the pagans. Like, so it's like, and so what we're going to do, we're going to make fun of you. We're going to dress up like you and hand out candy to people like you. Like, very nice of that was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be fun. Scantily dressed things. I do think it's kind of interesting though, like with the signs and holidays. Like, honestly, there's only, Scorpio is sex, and Halloween is when you can like show up looking like a whore and it's a good costume. Like, right? A good costume. That's a good costume. Any other day, it's not a good costume. Right. But
I guess. Yeah, but when you're solid yourself, and like the repetitive nature of that, then it brings out that different essences of you, And I would say when we think of Halloween, we think of like mystery and the mysterious, and I feel like there's a lot of things within ourselves that we keep mysterious because we're not expressing. So it's a great time to do that and to find a different, like you were saying, even sexually, sensually, intellectually, spiritually, to find that different dynamic. And so I think it's a great time for that as well. And that's why when people do Halloween, they turn to someone they could never be, right? When they do Halloween, so I'm like. Even though when you see people in costume, that's a version of themselves they're suppressing. That's a part of them that they're really suppressing. So look out for all those Jeffrey Dahmer costumes because you know what they're suppressing.
I was Wonder Woman for 5 years in a row as a kid.
You were what?
I was Wonder Woman for Halloween. But it was, I was because I loved Linda Carter. I wanted to marry her, and like she was gonna be my wife. But it was plastic. It wasn't really, the stockings were a bit much. My mom didn't understand that, but I got through it. And I'm just kidding.
Is there images of this?
There aren't. We've had them burned, but but no, they're in the album somewhere. It's just to me the little costume. You would think there's a little girl behind there. You have no idea.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I liked. It was the one that was popular on TV in the 70s. Was a Wonder Woman with Linda Carter.
Oh, I know.
The rope, everything was cool. So, fear of spirituality. So we're talking about the topic is fearlessness. How do you stay fearless? And talking about fearlessness in Halloween. And I'll tell you this. I'll just share real quickly. After my Chiron return, I was suddenly fearless. I've not had any fear last more than 3 seconds since my Chiron return, which happens around age 50. And Chiron, it turns out to be what you are so afraid of the most. Like, it's what always happens to you. Every time you incarnate, this happens to you. And so I realized that my soul was the whole time waiting for that to happen again, just waiting for it. And all my time was wasted and all my worries were stupid. It was all me the whole time, worried that I wouldn't be able to get rid of it. And all I did was get to the point of return, and I got rid of it. It was like, And when I got rid of it, I realized how just it was created by me. That was my biggest takeaway. Like, this is all me. There's not one piece of evidence that there's some universal, magic that's trying to strike this across or, strikes upon me. It's been my fear, so I've done something stupid. My fear, so I've done something stupid. I'm overreacting because I'm afraid. I'm underreacting because I'm afraid. It's just like, that was the problem the whole time. Wish I could have just, been told that. But, I think as far as fear is concerned, it's one of two things. One, it's a message from your body. Like, yo, this is not good. Whatever that means to you. I think fear is like a messenger that tells you there's a problem here. And a lot of times the problem is we know nothing about it. Like, we know nothing about this. We have no data on this in our system. Like, we're going into unmarked territory, unexplored space, so to speak. And I think you get a little afraid of the unknown there. When I read, and this is my last point, is Conversations with God. In that book, God says that the only thing he programmed for fear was to be afraid of loud sounds as a baby. That was the only fear that came with the package, he said.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's an alert, like you said, it's an alert system. It's a GPS system. And I don't think fear is intent. I mean, it's there to disrupt, but it's not there to linger and to keep you sustaining in that mode. Because I always like to interpret fear like when we're driving on the highway, we fall asleep and, you kind of go with those bumps, it shakes you up, it wakes you up, you're back on track. I think that's what fear is. Sometimes they're just to wake us up, to kind of snap us out of it so we can get back on track. If we see it as such, then the value in our evolution can be like a great relationship with fear and not so much the fear of fear itself, which is, of course, that's the greatest fear anyway. And so I think if we use that as a tool and understand that that's where we're the most deprived to, or we're not listening when we have the fear manifest. So yeah, I've always found that to be a navigation system. And so, and a lot of times, if I find myself afraid of something, of doing something, or an anxiety about something, I realize there's a unresolved attachment attached to it. And so then when I resolve that, of course, the fear dissipates. But again, I think we also look at it too, that when there's fear resurrecting, you're in the wrong direction in life. And so, or in a wrong mode in life.
Yeah.
So that's what moves me spiritually.
I agree. You've hit a wall. No question. Yeah. But overall, I don't think fear is very natural occurring. And in astrology, the best use of fear, the best example is Black Moon Lilith, which is a really strange thing. I'm even sure I know who discovered it, but it's fascinating because it's like this space. It's in the anti-space of the Earth because the Earth is an elliptical orbit around the Earth that our Earth goes in. It's like a racetrack, actually. The Earth is like a racetrack, and that's why. And in that racetrack, the moon is in one side of it, so that's why the moon will go full, like big and small, because it's like where we are on the racetrack. Well, the other side of the racetrack could fit a whole nother Earth, and that is apparently Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is a space that could fit a whole nother Earth. It's the negative anti-Earth, and apparently, it's the Akashic Records place, record keeping. It's where the Akashic Records are like storing all of your diarrhea, stuff like that. I like give a nice term there, but really where you're storing all of your stuff. And so what happens is we can track in the astrology when that's going to hit you and where. And so it'll hit you, it'll come up, and boy, does it hit you. I mean, I'm about to have my Black Moon Lilith return, okay, in Sagittarius. So mine's in Sagittarius. So my big fear is like, a woman that tells me the wrong religion or something. And so that's my big fear. When it came back the first time, the literal thing I was afraid of, like my worst case scenario, the thing I was just so scared about ever happening, actually happened, right? And it turned out to be a big nothing burger. I was like, oh,
sure, yeah.
I'm afraid of that for this long, and it was a nothing burger. Like no one cared, I was the one who cared. No one else cared. Like, okay, honey, have a good day. People thought I was being exaggerating about it.
Right.
Inside of me though is terror, like just like can't sleep, can't breathe, And so it had to be cleared. We'll see what happens this time. Here she comes again.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Right. But if we dig a little deeper, and if we dig deeper and find out where the stemming of it's coming from, and most times it's not attached to the circumstance fearful of, and we realize it's because of an experience that we don't want to replicate. And so sometimes we can attach what we are fear of replicating to a lot of different things. Like I always say, some people are abused by a loved one, and so they identify to be loved, to be loved is to be abused, and so therefore they create that in every person. There's a fear of wanting to connect, and so we have to make sure we're not attaching whatever issue has happened to us that creates the fear. We're not attaching that to everything else in our life that ends up depriving us.
Yeah, I have to say that I only matured in fear, in my late 40s, and it came down to what it does as a child, like. I'm just going to walk straight into it and see what if it kills me. You just walk straight forward and see if it kills you. And of course, it doesn't. It just starts to disappear as you walk towards you. Like, like I want more satisfaction than that, like facing my fears. But that's ultimately what it is. And people don't realize how paralyzed they are by fear. I mean, you think of it as it's in the smallest places that's dangerous. Like, I was going to tell her this, but then I thought, oh, what if she doesn't like what I'm about to say? And then she gets mad at me for this and that. And so I don't tell her that. And then because they don't tell her that, she falls in the well and dies. Like something happens, like, like, oh my God, it's even worse than fear. It's like everything we say, everything we do, everything we're willing to say, it's like all being regulated by don't do that, but don't do that. So literally we have this consciousness that's inside out telling us trying to memorize all the millions of ways that things will go wrong instead of memorizing the 2 or 3 ways that things will go right. It doesn't make sense. It's a definitely Satan-built world out there.
Well, and the next one is like, what does it mean to be fearless? And we hear that a lot of time, fearless. I'm like, I don't think there's ever a thing called fearless. I mean, you always will have fear. And so it's more about if you're reacting to the fear, or if you're able to manage the fear or use the fear as a tool, we said before. So like we said, fear can be an alert for you to like, hey, you're going the wrong direction, or fear could be a protective mechanism, like where we feel intuitive fear. It's like, don't go down that street because something may occur. So we get the fear. So it's another alert. So that could be very helpful. And there's also fear of repression, like we were saying before, about being, kind of associating things to trauma that keeps you reluctant to tapping into things because of the fear of what's happened before. So there's different dynamics of it. So I don't think we could eradicate the fear itself. To me, to be fearless in the sense of not being controlled by fear means you've actually are able to manage it. But I don't think it's possible to be completely fearless. I don't think that exists unless we leave physical reality.
Well, for the most part, compared to where I was, I'm fear free. It's that big of a difference in my life. I think it serves its purpose, and that's really what we're up against here with the, the frequency wars. It's really fear-based wars. The idea that we're going to have two factions of our countries in the world fighting each other and trying to make one afraid of the other. At the end of the day, we're just trying to play haunted house. That's all that's happening. It's sad but true. We'll see. We could be in a turning point here. Yeah. So, was FDR right? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Was FDR right, Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
I mean, I said that in the first part of this. Yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. If, again, you can say, I'm pretty fearless because you've identified it differently. So the alerts that you get that would be identified as feared if you were not so conscious or so awakened, right? You just see them now as alerts or nudges from spirit. That's how I see it. But people who are not maybe so evolved spiritually will feel it as fear. So, but yes, a lot of people, even when I used to suffer from anxiety years ago and I had agoraphobia, I would get anxiety about getting anxiety. Well, I don't want my situation because I don't have an anxiety attack. So I used to get all that. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm creating this loop. And so that made it worse, until of course I've grappled that and did my healing. But so yeah, that is the fear itself is the issue, because then we take away the real meaning and the real usefulness of fear. And then we don't evolve, and then we stay deprived, generating more fear and anxiety. So absolutely.
I was just sitting here thinking about, like, isn't that nice, the day when the president wrote his own speech? And it was a good, I don't think he wrote that probably. I think he had many writers, but he assembled it.
Of course.
And Eleanor, his wife, did a lot of the assembling of it too. I think they were twin flames.
Yep.
I think they're twin flames, Eleanor and him. That's why they didn't have sex. I think Einstein and his wife were twin flames too. No, seriously.
All right.
I think when you get to the end of your twin flamehood, you invent things like, penicillin, the Curies, like you do amazing things the two of you together. But one thing it's not is making love. Seems like they always are kind of bitter in that last lifetime.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last one is, how do we put boundaries around that fear?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we put boundaries? Can we do that? Can we put boundaries around fear?
So what I teach people is, like, I protect myself from this fear. I protect from feeling it. I protect from being controlled by it. I protect that it will be walked out the door while I'm busy doing this show. It's going to walk its ass out the door and not come back again. That's what I'm protecting right now. And so it is. Now you may go, that is the dumbest. Try it. You try it. What happens is it goes away. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, your body, people don't realize your consciousness works for you, and you are its God. And so you ultimately, if you say, hey, little consciousness, let's get rid of this. It does. It's crazy. It does. Yeah. Some people like to play games, though, and they make it like, they make it run back towards itself, and then they make it run back towards itself. It's like, so they're playing little, basically Muppet, games with themselves. That's fine. But at the end of the day, your body will do what you ask.
Yeah. It's just, how do you put boundaries around fear? I just, that question to me is just like, I think for me, fear is a boundary. When you cross a boundary, fear will erupt because it'll alert, and so I just think that, again, like, if we place better boundaries, I think the less fear we'll have. If we know our threshold, the less fear we'll have or experience in a negative sense. And the more we evolve, we become more in tune and use Scorpio season to solidify who we are, then yes, I think that we'll set the boundaries, we'll experience less fear. And then as we broaden our boundaries, then we'll understand that fear is more alert and we refine ourselves. So I think boundaries is what eliminates and actually helps prevent us from having the unnecessary fear. But I think a little fear is good. We need a little bit, we need a little bit of that kind of breaking the mold. We need a little bit of, like, encouragement and reaching for more. And I think fear helps with that, because if I, again, like, for example, when I used to be afraid of going on stage when I was younger, and I would just get fear about that, even though I loved it. And so, if I listened to fear, I'd stop it, but it allowed me to say, well, if I fear this, I need to master being comfortable with it. And so I focused on being comfortable and, like, in marrying myself with the idea of such. And then it just became a natural for me. The fear has gone away. So it encouraged me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Actually, it gets a lot more done than most things inside of you.
Hell yeah.
A lot more things done. Yeah. And fear is pretty interesting. Oscillating Lilith versus mean Lilith. Oscillating is going to be what triggers your fear in your chart, and mean is going to be what the core fear is. And ultimately, that fear of her, Lilith, usually is at least 3 or 4 lifetimes long. Like, it comes back again and again and again, starts to build up speed, like, and starts to take over, lifetimes. And so you eventually turn around and you face it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I think I think with the show too, I think we've hit almost a year and a half mark, or I think maybe 2 years since I've been on your show, actually. And so I think LOL is now going on a year and a half now. Do you believe that? So if we held on to the fear of things not working, I don't think we would have sustained it this long. So we've been doing, LOL's been on for a long time. And, speaking of, there's a comment by Lindsay Piccolo on Facebook that says, Chris, you need to find a different co-host. Sorry, Lindsay, you probably fear an outspoken person. So therefore,
what are you afraid of, Lindsay? What are you afraid of?
Yeah, she's afraid of spelling. She has horrible spelling too. So that's not happening. We've been doing it for a year and a half. So find something else to engage with.
You guys.
Find something else to engage with.
Well, I love I love everyone who watches, but I don't tell you who for you should hang out with. Like I don't go to your house, like you're hanging out with this person, to me, to put anyone down at all is just, to me, low light,
Well, if people
What's
want to broadcast a comment, let's broadcast it. So I love broadcasting that. Let's broadcast that comment and the name. So, and the horrible spelling dictation. So,
Listen,
but anyways, speaking of,
go ahead.
But speaking of LOL, right at the beginning of such, tomorrow night on my live show, Devin Dorr will be on. We'll be doing actually tag team readings tomorrow, and also doing the 2026 forecast for all signs. So that's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. What's that?
You're getting that out early. I'm curious. We have to watch.
We want something with a better shelf life too. So it's almost at the end of the year. So the biggest shelf life. But yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, I do my live shows every Thursday, and we'll be doing also one-on-one readings as well as the collective. So join us tomorrow.
It's going to be gravy. Yeah, we're moving something around. I think we're giving up Friday night.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
All right.
I'm live. This song is going to change soon, Christopher. So I'm writing writing new music. So there'll be a different song at some point. So you don't have to hear that over and over again anymore.
I make commercials. I think it's kind of fun. I like seeing commercials for Lightworker stuff, because it really helps people. They don't know. They have to be reminded, not just to buy the product, but that, this works, and there's all these other things that you can do. Right. So, I'm on the topic of fearlessness and how you get over the fear itself. The only thing to fear was fear itself. That's what we wrapped up with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This is probably true. I mean, I think one of the things about fear is it's often displaced creativity. Like you're not getting enough creative outlet in your life, and you start writing horror films all the time. And what you don't realize is you're actually having a joy writing these horror films. Like, what if the anvil dropped and my ankle sprung off, and then an axe comes flying through the air and it gets me in the head? It's like, what the fuck? That's creativity, but it's been misused there.
Totally. Yeah, some people are so crazy with their creativeness on the fear spectrum, for sure.
I know. But then when actually it does happen, like I've had a couple of things of fate happen in the last couple of weeks. You can tell it's fate because the chance of that happening is so impossible. How meeting a person, for instance, the way of meeting a person is like, I cannot believe I just met this person this way, and then you turn around, it's like, and he's cousins with my cousin, like it's some of those things. I'm having a lot of those things. Like, it's like, whoa. Like someone's like, you should come out, Palm Springs. So like, I live here now. You do? What the fuck? Like, when'd you move here? And I do think there's a lot of migration going on.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people are moving now. Listen to your instincts. If you're being told to move. This is not a drill. It's not a drill. Yeah. In fact, out of all your life. Now, here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be. We spent our whole lifetime fearing the worst, and I have a feeling that the worst is going to be a real letdown. I don't think it's going to be a very hellfire damnation. I think the worst society ever got was actually World War II. That was it. That was the peak. I remember when I was like 18, my guide said that to me. Like, the peak was World War II. It will never be that bad again ever. I'm like, oh, I can live with that. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Thank you. Would you like to audition here? Come on up.
I was saying, and I've been very vocal about this. So with this comment here, I wanted to put it on my screen here. With this comment here saying this, I used to be fearful with this Lindsay Piccolo. I've been making an example here about fear, because I used to be a person that would be afraid of calling things out. Oh, I got to take the high road. And then I realized that wasn't solving anything. It wasn't changing anything. So as of late, I'm like, I'm standing up. I'm not going to be afraid to say anything. I'm not going to be afraid to call things out. So I've been on a mission of calling things out when I feel like I shouldn't say something. I'm allowing myself to do that and not have the fear anymore to do that. So I've been calling out a lot of that. Sorry, these overlays is from my live show. I've been calling a lot of that stuff out because I feel what is in my heart is people's behaviors don't change if they're coddled. People's behaviors don't change if someone doesn't call it out, because someone could behave poorly, no one says anything. But that one person that says F off, if that one person's heard F off 10 times, maybe they'll say, maybe there's something wrong with me. And then finally, the 10 people that stood up and said something helped the person change. So I just feel like now that's part of my mission of how I'm evolving. I'm calling it out. So, there's been a lot of nasty comments lately, and I call it out. And I think it should be exposed. If you want to take the time to do it, let's give you the spotlight, honey. So, but that's me breaking through my fear for myself of saying, I didn't want to say anything. I don't call it out. And so I'm just breaking through my own fear. And of course, as I refine that, I'll have better finesse as I evolve with that nature. And then I'm probably just like, oh, whatever. Then I wouldn't care at that point, but that's just where I'm at with my mission, my life and my mission, because there's a lot of that going on, Christopher, right now with politics. People just saying whatever. No one's like, everyone's afraid to say something. And, because they don't want to offend anybody. I'm like, I'm the opposite of that. Now we need to start offending.
Interesting. Well, interesting how you flip like that. I'm not,
what did you
I feel like it's not my job to make someone's behaviors change. It's like, you guys do all you want, but as my mama used to say, if you don't want to change your diaper, then you're going to stink in your diaper. It's like, and I remember as a kid, I would not come in and change my diaper. And so I stunk and the kids didn't like me and I couldn't handle things. So I had to learn, come in and get my diaper changed. And that's pretty much what it is about. It's like, you'll learn eventually the hard way, but I do have a thing, like if you cross my path and you like do something ridiculously stupid in front of me, I promised God I would say something, like at that point, I'm sorry, I promised God I would say something just to keep the world a little bit safer place, kind of thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to direct something at me, I'm going to call it out and respond to it. And so I find it to be funny too, but also the fact that I'm healing my wounds of abuse that I went through, where I wouldn't say anything just to appease people. So I've come to that part of my evolution where I'm doing it to heal myself more about not having that fear anymore. So, and I get a kick out of it every time. So it's nice.
What about subtle fears? Like, there are people who never get married or never, try to buy a house because they're afraid of the bank and the credit system. I mean, it's amazing how fear stops people from things. When really, I'll tell you this: when you go straight into a fear, it's a rush. You actually get high. Like your whole adrenaline, all you're saying is just like you don't even have to, take a pill. You just walk straight towards the fear, and you are going to be on another level. Your hormones are going to just fire up like crazy. You're going to have like superhuman strength because your adrenaline's going to be all pumped up and stuff. It's like, it's actually kind of cool to walk into fear. Like, bring it,
because sometimes we fear the things we actually do want, we deserve, or there's so many reasons why we fear it. We don't think we deserve it, or it's going to fall apart, or because we had a broken family, therefore we think our family's going to be broken. So we resist that instead of converting it, So I would say, if you encourage yourself to say, go toward it, go toward the fear, like you said earlier, it's not as bad as you think. And you probably say, I'm happier going this direction. So, in that direction, when it's not an alert, when it's a repression, So if y'all remember, the different definitions of fear has different voices, then the one that's holding you back is the one that's going to be the thing that really catapults you forward.
Yeah, that should be. Well, I think it does.
Hello,
I was watching
there?
that little comment. I was reading the comment from you. Like, it was like, what's that about? What she was commenting about. The one that's holding you back. Well, the one that's holding you back has the most pressure. And I'll tell you this is a good topic for Scorpio, just because a lot of times people have fear because you have no boundaries. It's like, I don't know if, like, I have a customer and be like, I'll be giving a reading. It's like, you don't put on your seatbelt, you don't use the turn signal, you don't use the brake, you don't do this. And you say you're terrified to get in the car. Well, I would be too, woman, or man, like a lot of times what we're afraid of is we're afraid because we know goddamn well no one's watching out the window, like no one's paying attention. And so you're afraid because your body's like, hello, like is a big hello, there's a problem here, so-and-so's behind the wheel again, take cover. So I think a lot of times the fear is because you are walking into something stupid, and that's the little, the alarm system of your body. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before about when you're driving the freeway, you fall asleep and those bumps wake you up because they're putting a check. Absolutely, yeah, that's the one other tool or one other usage of fear. But I don't think the goal is to be fearless. Is to be like where you understand what it is and you're using it. I think that's the goal for me. When it comes to fear and for everybody in that sense.
I am fearless. And I have things to be afraid. You think I would be afraid? I'm not. So the lot of stuff that normally I used to make people afraid, I'm not. I think once you realize this is all a game, you don't care. I mean, I just that's where I'm coming at. We'll see. As I say from hell, we're dead hell, and you're like, I told you. Like, damn, I thought it was a game.
Nothing happened that I thought it would, and nothing was in my control. Yeah, no, it's true. And yeah, I feel the same way. I don't really fear anything. There's things that make me uncomfortable. There's things that alert to me, but I don't like. There's that the paralyzation of like fear that holds me back. But I always get alerts. I get a little bit. Don't do that. I get those alerts that again maybe 20 years, 25 years ago, that would have been a fear to me. A fear response to me. But but I've noticed, especially doing inner work and therapy in that sense, and because I feel like people who teach need teachers, people who provide leadership need leadership, and I always have a mentor or someone that can help guide me when I'm doing things that I can't see. And so even working with that and noticing a lot of my triggers, and saying, I want to speak with power with my triggers. I don't want to just like respond to a trigger. I want to speak with conviction and power, and so that's am I there yet completely? Hell no. I think a lot of us are not even there, but I feel like that's my goal to get there, and so, and I've been very transparent in my live show about my tests and that I'm walking the walk with you all too. And so that's leading out loud, and leading out loud means you stand up, you address things, you present. And so, I'm living my truth in that sense, but that's where the fear also gets eradicated, because I feel like I'm actually doing it. There's nothing really to fear with that. So I agree. I don't really fear much. Just things that we don't like I don't want to experience that, but do I fear it? Because no, if that happened, I'd be the best of whatever happens.
I'll tell you, and this is true. If I look in the mail and I see IRS, I'm in fear.
There you go. You're not fearless.
If I see things from the IRS, I'm in instant fear. I don't care what it is. And fuckers will be like, we've gone through your records and found that you've changed your address. I'm like, I still say, no. We're getting rid of that IRS. We're getting rid of that. We don't want that anymore. It's time. So it's great.
Yeah, I know. It's my belief is so tormented. I'm so unethical that you have to pay when you work, but then I understand you got to pay for a system, but then we pay. I'm just my wires are crossing the whole income tax thing.
It's bad. So, it's horrible. Life should never be taxed. Life should not be taxed.
Or to participate, to work, you shouldn't have to pay to support yourself. I'm basically paying to feed myself. So
being feeding tax people. Yeah. Well, that's because it's Rockefeller. But we'll talk about him.
There it is. You're about to combust in 3, 2, 1. We need a graphic so when we do that, the Morgan kid make it happen.
We'll have to have Rockefeller, a dog right now. He turns into Rockefeller. These are things you can just put in the truck right now. It's so funny. Funny stuff. Yeah, I'm having fun with Grok too, by the way. I think guys play with this AI. It's really kind of interesting because you get used to having a brain compute for you, and it really is. I'm seeing myself. Gallop now. I can gallop down avenues of thought and consideration, because I have this research assistant that is kind of fun. It's really pretty amazing to kind of explore it, because I feel what I realized is I was showing the video things to one of my clients today, and she was saying, oh my God, she said the same thing. You don't even have to storyboard for film anymore, because it will literally storyboard for you. But we're at a point now where the only thing that's going to be left, because everyone's going to have the same tools and the same drawing ability, it's going to come down to actual creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to come down to actual creativity. If you're not you either are creative or you're not, and creativity is going to be. So it's interesting. AI is going to make creativity the most probably, competitive, if you want to use the word, competitive intellectual, ability.
And that's what I was talking to my mom about too the other day. So I'm just I found that even just playing with Grok and all that stuff, I'm I'm able to get this crap that's in my head and actually put it to life when I couldn't really do that before. So in a certain way with the videos and so, and I love that. And so, it's not, and I think that AI is going to help with execution, like you were saying. So we'll be creative, but it's it'll help with the execution. We just could get it done and give life to it. And so I think there's a lot of positive things with that. And I think also with things being so heavily AI, people think, oh, it's going to take away the human creativity. No, people will start craving human creativity a lot more too. And I think that would be something to be more valuable in the long run. So
it's inspired mine, because it'll do all the work. I'm like, oh great, I can erase. Don't do this way. Oh, erase. Don't do this way. So it's like I can run through creative ideas a mile a minute now. They're even faster and deeper, and even do an analysis of cost and how much profit would it make given the audience. Like all that's one prompt.
One thing though I will never use AI for is my music. I just can't. I enjoy doing every aspect. I love the process. I love the process of singing, writing. So I would never. I mean, excuse me, never. But I'm gonna have to brand my new music as SI, Soul Intelligence, because I know people are like, is that AI? I'm like, no, I'm gonna brand all my music with Soul Intelligence, SI, to make sure people understand. No, this was all me.
That's funny. We're gonna do ours with Divine Intelligence, DI.
Oh, that's cool too. We're in sync.
Divine Intelligence, yeah, totally. Yeah,
nice.
I think Divine Intelligence is more intelligent. I mean, the truth is like all AI really is like something that spied on you forever and come to conclusions based on patterns.
Yeah.
Right? And so as soon as the human race changes, it's dumb again. I mean, it's going to keep up, but pretty much it's it's no longer intelligence. It's old intelligence, but it's still fascinating to see this reflection of us right when Uranus is in Gemini. Last time we invented television. When Uranus and Gemini last time, we invented television, color television. What else do we do? And some for different radios, different frequencies of radios besides just walkie-talkie. So communication, Gemini. Happened. Now it's like wow, quantum communication. It's just incredible. Incredible. Yeah. Is that it for our time? Yeah. Well, I'll be darned. Folks, I'm going to say we've got a couple of things coming out here with Serious Joy. One is it's not too late to start the 40 Days of Truth and Purpose. Now, this actually, I get started this weekend. Just do it right now. You just basically listen to a tape that I play in our system. It talks to you about your chart. It says, hey, go look at this in your chart. Use this cipher code, this special decoder ring to figure out what it means. And then I ask you a question like about your childhood, like a psychiatrist. And you answer the question. And in 40 days, you will know your purpose. You will know your purpose in 40 days because I just designed it so it just does like this. And because it's during Scorpio, you can't lie to yourself. Yeah. So it turns denial off. You cannot lie in Scorpio. You always know that you're lying when you're lying, Scorpio. So it's a perfect time to have the class. And it's a perfect class for now because most people don't know what their purpose is. I'm surprised, Scott. A lot of people come to me about their purpose. I'm like, I thought we went over this. But they're like, no, now it's changed. And it's true because we're changing jobs. Like, so even people who had a purpose are getting a new one now, And then the other thing is I have a seminar coming up that people need to know called The New World Order. There it is. And we'll be doing, I'll actually put tickets out this weekend for sale and whatnot. But this is like, I'm going to lay out, this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm going to lay out my opinion and my analysis both of what I feel the future is going to be like. So I'm going to be a daring person here. I'm going to dare to say what the future is going to be and what I see from this point on. And we'll see if I'm right over the years or not. But it gets the juices flowing. It's going to be a phenomenal lecture, about 90 minutes. And then if you want to do a workshop, you can add on a workshop. And in the workshop, I'll walk you through your chart and you can kind of map out the key dates of your purpose, like what purpose, when, why, where, right? So give you a little bit of understanding of yourself because your whole self is in that chart somewhere. I'll tell you that right now. So that is at newworldorder.xyz, newworldorder.xyz. Hope to see you there.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah. And just remind you guys, tomorrow my live show, we with Devin Dewar tomorrow doing all our 12 signs for 2026. A little head start on that. And also live one-on-one readings we'll be doing collectively too, as I do every Thursday on my live show at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And hate to break it to you, Lindsay Piccolo, but I will be here next week, Christopher, and the week after that, and the week after that. So if you don't like it, don't tune in. But I'll be here, and we'll be here.
he's loyal like herpes, I'll tell you. Willing purpose. Let's keep coming back.
Christopher's here all night, guys.
Yeah, I have a zero.
What's our topic next week, though? What did we decide? We decide a topic for next week.
We had to announce it, and then we'll cut out because I think we're at an hour here. Where is our crypto mala? Talk about boundaries. It's bound to understand. Oh, here it is. Bump. How do we avoid?
Yeah, we're talking about better boundaries.
We're talking about better boundaries.
Yeah. That's tomorrow's.
Build back better boundaries next week. Build back better boundaries next week. Build back better boundaries.
Yeah,
this is where you run the cards.
That's a good time for that too, actually, because we kind of discussed that. We breezed over that tonight, so I think next week we'll go into depth about boundaries, huh?
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, boundaries are funny thing.
I know, coming from a Taurus and Aqua, it's gonna be very interesting.
We are bounded between the two of us. You get squished.
Stay there, right there.
Caroline, come on.
Caroline, don't go toward the light.
Coming up next week on Serious Joy TV. This week on Leading Out Loud, Sensei Christopher Witecki and psychic medium Scott Cruz are setting the example for how to build better boundaries. Join the conversation this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then join us for Astro Mingle on Friday night, featuring special guest Karen A. Anderson, a pet loss specialist, #1 best-selling author, and coach. The best in enlightened entertainment, only on Sirius